Hi friends, it's Salt. If you're new here, this channel is all about salt. Salt is the alchemical element of transformation. Salt cleanses, it heals, and it transmutes energy just like you do. This channel finds the rare archetypes who move through life differently. So if you found this, I'm really honored to have you and really just be one of the few who gets to see and reflect you properly. As my channel keeps growing, I am getting just download after download after download. I pulled a ton today and channeled a ton today, and I will leave as the simplest description I can so you don't have to spend too much time in the details with me. But there is a lot here, so hopefully I can explain it well as we go. The group I'm channeling for today has had a string of disheartening or disrespectful energies in their past. I'm just getting a sense of overcoming as the main theme here. There's more waves of exhaustion, specifically from learning lessons, and lessons are emphasized here as the reason for exhaustion. This collective, though, is much different than my usual, let's call them tired collective. I do get tiredness, exhaustion, and money themes a lot here in what I get from downloads as like a common majority. This one is different though because it comes from emotional processing and metabolizing the pain of those disappointments. So the exhaustion that this collective in particular is feeling is not from survival or overworking necessarily. This is more from a huge amount of internal processing that they are doing under the surface. Let's call this a digestion space. You're metabolizing pain pretty effectively. To alchemize, we kind of need to metabolize pain in a physical way throughout the body and not just keep turning our mental wheels about it. There's like points of healing that are different. Like there's mental points and then there's physical points, which is kind of like the last part of healing. A lot of people get stuck in that mental space. And I sense this collective is metabolizing instinctively in a physical space. So they're kind of at the precipice of a final point of healing. You may have reached throughout your life healing that has really shocked others around you, like growth and change. Like you may be the type that simply cannot keep consistent friends because you outgrow them too fast. And I really see that as being from this ability or this instinct to metabolize pain here that maybe you don't even consciously know you're doing. But it is very rare. Most people get stuck in that mental point of processing pain and you're metabolizing it in a physical sense. Where this usually comes from, this ability, is a threshold limit. I see you met that threshold point earlier in life with disappointments that I mentioned at the beginning from people and situations and disheartening experiences. That's no coincidence here that you reach that threshold point a lot faster. I see your soul chose lessons to have you reach this metabolized point of healing and alchemy. And really, once you begin to start metabolizing, it's kind of like a ripple effect and it keeps happening. So this is really good. I see and feel this energy is really, really good. I had to pause and step away for a little bit from this reading and what I was being shown and what I was pulling because I really just didn't know where Spirit was going with this message, if I'm really honest. So I think I'm going to heavily rely on the description today to explain the arc that you are in and what I'm being shown. Some readings hit me with a lot of randomness, and sometimes it works to just kind of like throw out all of the things that I'm being presented and you take in that what applies to you. But today, for some reason, I'm hesitating with all this information because it seems there's a subtle warning for me to simplify instead of overcomplicate. And I do feel like complicating is my strength. You maybe have had a tendency to also overcomplicate or perhaps oversimplify. And that's where my warning comes in to not give you the tools to continue to do that. And I hope I make this as clear as possible. A strange connection point here came through as I was talking about all this complication about jewelry. So you could have a piece that you wear every single day. And that is highly emphasized here. Silver also feels really important. So sorry to the gold wearers. But I do think just regular wearing of jewelry here is the behavior I'm being shown. There are some specifics about the stone and some recommendations or channeled material I'll put in the description for you if that does resonate. Spirit wants to guide you towards something. But I do sense that there is a connection between your ability to overcomplicate, but then in contrast, how you either simplify this jewelry experience or vice versa. I also think that Spirit is kind of testing me today and my ability to discern interconnected, detailed messages. So take this all with a grain of salt and how it resonates, because it's a lot today, I feel. Overall, I sense there's like a complete shift in reality happening for you currently. Things that you never used to see are glaring you in the face with a lot of intensity at this time. This kind of feels, I think this is why I'm being drawn to like sit with it and not just spew out a bunch of complexities, is this kind of feels like matrix simulation, absurdity of reality kind of energy here. There is like simulation theory energy here. Like you are either really involved in those thoughts or theories, or they pertain to some sort of lifestyle energy you are living in right now. And I'll clarify that. Where this could really show up if you aren't like encompassed in those kind of theories is this could be you're living in an energy right now where you feel living in the now is really important and life is really short. And you maybe have just recently adopted that awareness or that shift. We all hear that life is so short and precious and we need to live now, but adopting that energy takes some sort of threshold crossing to get to usually, and to get out of societal containment to like really embody it. Like something bad has to happen, some sort of extreme event or life altering chaos. But I really see that you reach this point through alchemizing and through metabolizing extreme emotional pain. I see there are both options present here. There's a lot of different ways you could have arrived here, but this is definitely like matrix simulation theory energy, and it's very strong. With this Aquarian and Pluto type of shift, I'm picking up that there's just like not only a change in perspective here for you, but it's very difficult to sit with the wide contrast of how it used to be and how it is now for you. Like I see it difficult to figure out a normal, quote unquote, right now, as you've adopted this new perspective and metabolized so much. You're still kind of like teeter-tottering between what used to be your normal and what is your normal now. So there's like definitely a wide gap here in catching up with where you are. This also feels like a liminal awareness space with so many opportunities that are basically in front of you or that are coming very soon, and you can feel that. I kind of get the sense of open doors being there and not choosing any, but it's sitting in the awareness of them all in some sense. This is like sitting in the absurdity of everything right now instead of moving towards one. So very zoomed out type of perspective, but aware that abundance is present for you. You're kind of in the spaciousness is what it feels like without specifics being defined. Like your life feels very open-ended. Your schedule and commitments could feel like they aren't really overcrowded right now. You sense there are many possible paths and you feel into them. Spiritually, this is clearing. It's kind of like making space before new structures form. And you are definitely aware of that, I see. But I see this being a kind of first phase of a larger arc of transformation. I'll put the arc in the description of what comes after this because it's kind of a complicated process that you're in. But this is such an interesting message because it's so complicated, but I have to, and I'm being called to simplify it. It seems like the flat space that you're in right now, you're conserving a lot. Like life feels so monotonous and routine and spacious. But interestingly, you're aware of the absurdity and the bigger picture. It's almost like you're being trained on discernment through this contrast here. It doesn't feel negative or pessimistic at all. It just feels like awareness of the absurdity, like the simulation theory energy in some way, or that life is short. So I need to live now kind of energy. By knowing that doors and opportunities exist and feeling them in some way and feeling them coming, but not moving, you're kind of learning that you don't need to jump through each door that presents itself just because you feel it or it's like existing in some way. So on a spiritual and unconscious level, you're learning to discern here about what's really aligned for you. So somehow this is helping ground you, even if it maybe feels pessimistic or empty in some way. So you're in this confusing liminal space where you feel life is really boring and too spacious, perhaps. And you're totally craving novelty and excitement in some way, but you're also not interested in moving forward because you're glaringly aware endless possibilities and limitlessness are able to exist from reality not being what it seems. So very, very stark contrast here. Very, very interesting. The message here feels like explaining the feeling of disinterest in moving forward that you feel right now is teaching you something, even if you're not aware of that. It's like you're relearning discernment through not walking through the doors you feel are going to open or have opened or that you're sensing are coming. You're basically able and training yourself to exist within novelty by feeling this presence and feeling this energy so strongly. It might also be true that no physical opportunities are really in front of you right now. And so you're just kind of like glaringly feeling that emptiness, but you do feel the novelty and the energy that's coming and the excitement you feel is meant for you. So in that way, you're being trained around novelty and there's some sort of discernment that's happening here. So with this training that's happening through this spaciousness, there's also like kind of a strange warning message here for the decisions to come with doors that will open that you are sensing. I sense you feel that very strongly, and that's great. There's like a spiritual teaching that's underway with that. There is a message here about urgency and how it relates to decisions that feel urgent being a sign of misalignment. So, for example, when you reach deeper phases, from what I laid out in the description, and opportunities kind of flood in freely, like what you're feeling is coming, it's kind of being shown to me that if you feel urgency to move quickly or it complicates in some way that doesn't support your current focus, whatever that may be, even if your current focus is super, super small right now and simple, then it's not aligned and you shouldn't move forward. If you feel any sort of like urgent pull or complication, you should not move forward in that door or that opportunity. And you will be presented those, is what I'm being shown. You're in a space where even if it does feel empty or meaningless, you're still acting from alignment. I see that very clearly. That's why it feels empty, is because you stopped acting from misalignment. So even if it feels small, anything you are putting your energy into right now is kind of the space that you need to be watering. So when these opportunities open and these doors open, if it pulls you away from that in some way, so like let's say, for example, you're working on your health right now and you're doing very small exercises. That is very aligned for you in a spiritual sense, even if it doesn't feel like you're doing very much. If a door opens and it takes away the ability to focus on your health in some way, that door is not meant for you. It is not an aligned opportunity because it's either causing you to feel urgent, like you need to move and complicate and think, and you have to do everything right now when it feels chaotic, or it pulls you away from the small things that you're focusing on right now in this aligned state. It's not the right opportunity, and you'll be tested with those regularly. I'm being shown. So for aligned opportunities that will come to you, which they will, and they'll be very small and very few, they will come in and complement what you are already building, even if it's small. They don't blow everything up and come in quickly and make you decide in hasty ways. This last part is, I think some of you already intuitively know to do this, but keep leaving comments. The comments themselves do not have to be anything specific or personal to you. Think of these as energetic nudges for me to align with your energy. It helps me channel for you more efficiently, and I want to be able to do that. I read each and every one always, and I am so thankful for all of you. So, cheers, friends.